Hi, the reporter with the President team is in Antalya, Turkey, covering Antalya Diplomacy Forum, Turkey's major multilateral platform which annually brings together thousands of participants from all across the world. This year's forum is held under the theme Mapping Tomorrow, Managing Uncertainties, focusing on addressing the most challenging issues in international relations amid the ongoing process of US-Iran talks following the outbreak of the conflict. President of Kazakhstan, Tokayev, who will be the only leader from Central Asia to address a high-level panel at this forum, we will bring you all exclusive details and behind-the-scenes coverage of these important diplomatic gatherings. So let's get started. The Antalya Diplomacy Forum, a major diplomatic event hosted by Turkey for the fifth time, has become one of the leading multilateral platforms of the region. Attended by thousands of participants and dozens of the heads of state, this forum aims to foster solutions based on value-based interaction. This year, the President of Kazakhstan attends the event for the first time, being the only leader from Central Asia to address the forum. So you can see the President of Kazakhstan has arrived at the venue to take part at the Antalya Diplomacy Forum. He's expected to deliver key messages at the high-level panel ahead of the opening ceremony. The beauty of events like this is that the leaders of the countries can communicate informally and exchange briefly on important topics of the agenda. President Tokayev uses this opportunity to extend his greetings to the President of North Macedonia, Gordana Siljanovska-Davkova, the UN Special Representative for Afghanistan and former President of the Kyrgyz Republic, Rosa Otunbayeva, the Prime Minister of Georgia, Irakli Kobakhidze, and Turkey's representative to the NATO Parliamentary Assembly, Mevlut Çavuşoğlu.
Let me give the floor with great honor to Mr. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, President of the Republic of Kazakhstan.
Opening the panel session themed Mapping Future, Managing Uncertainties, President Tokayev shares his vision of the main challenges the global community faces in 2026.
The diplomats, as well as politicians, used to say that the whole civilization or humankind are on the crossroad. I remember the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kofi Annan, used to often say that, okay, we are on the crossroad. We are still on the crossroad. And it never happens with regard to easing the international tension. And regional conflicts nowadays go far beyond the regional dimensions. They have already become global.
He further addresses the situation in the Middle East. Iran, just hours before, announced the opening of the Strait of Hormuz amid the ongoing round of talks between the high-level officials of the US, Iran and Pakistan. President Tokayev at this panel session of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum highlights the essence of the core question in negotiations, the possibility of distribution of nuclear arms.
Kazakhstan, we have expressed our solidarity with the Persian Gulf states, first of all. And then we called all states to exercise the strategic restraint and to stop military actions in that part of the world. But everybody felt its negative impacts. First of all, the economy has suffered a lot. Nowadays, everybody is speaking about the freedom of sailing through the Hormuz corridor. Yes, it's very much important, but we must remember and take into account that before the conflict, the sea corridor has already been opened for free trade. So we should focus, first of all, on the nutshell of the problem. The nutshell of the problem is the spreading out of nuclear technologies and nuclear arms. And this problem must be in the very center of our negotiations.
The President of North Macedonia elaborates on the notion of declining multilateralism and increasingly enormous global expenditures on the militarization of economies. What is needed, Gordana Siljanovska-Davkova says, it is responsible and inspirational leadership, including under the UN auspices. Madam President, you've addressed very important issues of multilateral diplomacy. What is your say? What is your main takeaway from this session with the President of Kazakhstan and Prime Minister of Georgia?
This is the good step, and it comes in right time, because we are trying to deal with the need of mapping the future. Mm-hmm. So, future is not something that appears suddenly. Yeah. You have to prepare that. That's why I wanted to say that diplomacy is a science. Diplomacy is also a way of living. Mm-hmm. Diplomacy is not always traditional. It has to be, how to say, or cultural diplomacy, economic diplomacy, sport diplomacy, science diplomacy are as important as the traditional one is. I think that this was a good event and it will continue, and that discussion proves that only through debate you could recognize and you could select or you could find the right solutions.
In his speech at the panel session, the head of state also mentions the examples of Kazakhstan and Turkey as responsible and resilient middle powers that approach pragmatically the issues of peace and security in particular, as well as praises the upcoming state visit of President Erdogan to Astana.
We are very happy to see a stable, prosperous Kazakhstan, which is very important for the Turkic wall. I think this official visit, His Excellency Erdogan, will make to Kazakhstan will be an important milestone in the development of Kazakh-Turkish relations. So then another important event is taking place in the spiritual capital of Turkic world, Turkestan. If you look at our member states where they are located, they are at the center of the world, Eurasia. And so far our leaders have played an active, important role in bringing solutions to different conflicts.
What are the main takeaways from the panel session with the President of Kazakhstan?
You have heard all these interventions,
just
and
very briefly,
it was so important to have the vision and insight of a very, very experienced leader, Mr. Tokayev, President of brotherly Kazakhstan. As I also underlined during the panel, he is one of the leaders, knows the international system best, and because he also served as Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. And when I met first time, he was the President of the Senate of Kazakhstan. And when I was at the PASE, Parliamentary Assembly of Council of Europe, since then I have been following his efforts and also his services to Kazakhstan and brotherly Kazakh people, and also in the international system.
And indeed, in the world of declining power of international institutions, the global community needs strong and efficient diplomacy that is there for practical and rational solutions for generations to come.
I think it was very important that he made this emphasis on the importance of international rule, international organizations and stakeholders. We have to have not only the multilateralism itself, we have to have not only the good declarations or beautiful declarations, we have also a very much effective multilateral structures. So as a SICA representative, I'm very much happy that we have a strong supporters of multilateralism, because this is the only way to get out from this chaos, from this uncertainty, from this unpredictability.
The Antalya Diplomacy Forum continues its work. People are gathering at the hall where Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is set to traditionally address the forum with his opening remarks. We asked participants of the event about their expectations and experience with this gathering.
Diplomacy is always important, and nowadays the world is going through some very special time. And the need of conversation, the need of hearing ideas, on finding solutions that will lead us to a peaceful world through peaceful means is more needed than ever. I've been in a couple of forums this morning in which leaders of Latin America and Central Asia, although they are very different and they come from very different backgrounds, they are all saying the same thing. A complete trust in the multilateral approach.
Security is the most important issue now in our world for every individual. And I believe in that this is one of the tools that brings all the leaders, all the stakeholders to communicate each other. Not only maybe political diplomacy, but also soft power diplomacy. Civil diplomacy is also going to take a major role for solving these problems. And how can we ensure this dialogue in a better way?
President Tokayev has arrived for the opening ceremony. The President of Turkey arrives at the forum accompanied by the First Lady, greeting the high-level participants of the event. Kassym-Jomart Tokayev takes his seat right next to President Erdogan, followed by Sheikh Tamim ibn Hamad Al Thani of Qatar and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan. Now the forum is officially started. It is opened first by Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, Hakan Fidan. He's extending his greetings to the participants of the forum, addressing its main theme. Taking the floor, President Erdogan speaks candidly of the current world order, which he believes is facing a deep crisis of power and direction. The Turkish leader has urged a renewed commitment to diplomacy and fair representation in the multilateral system of international relations, as well as effective and inclusive dialogue based on a rules-based order. He offers his country as a platform for possible talks between conflicting parts, including that of Russia and Ukraine.
Sadece güçlünün hukukunu gözeten
a global system that upholds only the law of the powerful will lead humanity towards far deeper and greater conflicts and injustices. The war that filled our region with the smell of gunpowder for 40 days was the most recent example. We welcome the 15-day ceasefire secured through the efforts of my dear brother, Prime Minister Sharif of Pakistan. Regardless of how deep the disagreements are, dialogue must never give way to weapons, nor negotiation to violence.
The world becomes the weight on its shoulders.
In times of the massive power balance shift and deep uncertainty, there is no winner to the situation. Global supply chains suffer, economies face negative consequences, and inflation pushes prices up. As a result, people are losing their trust in political leadership. The experts we interviewed at the forum highlighted, adding that each of these aspects should be addressed thoroughly.
What do I feel?
Yes.
Of course, unfortunately, today's reality is uncertainty, even though we don't like it. In this unlike atmosphere, it is quite important to discuss the subjects, to discuss the problems or the solutions.
Yes.
That is the reason why we are here.
In her panel session, President of Slovenia, Nataša Pirc-Musar, who visited Kazakhstan just a year ago, reiterates the notion stated earlier by President Tokayev about the need for United Nations reform, calling the Security Council's veto power a hybrid war on true multilateralism. What is the role of Kazakhstan as a middle power in addressing, the very important issues of global diplomacy?
What I assented today is that we have to join together as middle powers, because when we are watching the permanent 5 members in the Security Council and 3 of them are really global powers, what's there to be done? I mean, I think that the middle powers should join and discuss this either regionally or inside the General Assembly in the United Nations, but we need to stick together one by one. For small countries, it's difficult. If we join the forces and promote values, rule of law, security, peace, that's what I want to see.
The forum moves on with diplomats, policymakers, experts and academics from across the globe putting forward their voices over values and rules-based international order, which as they believe is achievable through strong and representative diplomacy. Dialogue and collective diplomacy, as well as fair representation in the international multilateral system, are what's needed to map a future based on law and order. High-level participants of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum agreed on this basic yet very powerful message. That's everything we wanted to share with you this time. See you soon. Goodbye.